All right, welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Dollar Bin Digging. This is the video and article that I do for comicbookinvest.com, where I talk about those cheap books, those little treasures you can still find tucked away in those dollar boxes, those cheap boxes at your LCS, at flea markets, yard sales, wherever you find your cheap comic books. These are the kind of things you want to keep an eye out for, just in case you can stumble across them. Now, I got some Marvel rumors that I read this week that kind of inspired some of these selections, so hopefully you enjoy what I got for you this week. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. Make sure you check out the live shows on Wednesdays and Sundays. And yeah, if you just want to hold on for a few seconds, I'll be right back with this week's books. Okay, so as I kind of teased there in the open, this week I have a selection of books that are all based around some rumors around the upcoming She-Hulk series. Well, I guess there is the new comic series, but mostly for the Disney Plus show that we might be having coming our way. Now, I know it's kind of fun, and that's the only reason why I look into these, these rumors, and you do a little bit of speculation based off of these rumors, and you talk about the first appearances. But remember, none of this is confirmed. This is all strictly based on rumors this week, and mostly focused in on this little synopsis that I think it came through from Reddit and has been reported in a couple of places. So, I mean, take it with the very largest grain of salt that you can. But, I mean, here we're talking about how the Abomination might be working into the show. We know he's going to be on the show, but how his character will play out, where he has kind of like a support group for these other villains. And then some of these other villains that we might see from the Marvel Universe as part of that group might be like little cameos. So that's where I got a lot of these picks from for this week, is a lot of the first appearances related to some of these rumored characters to be showing up, including the Intelligentsia, if that's how I'm saying that right. I don't know. Again, just some weird stuff. Again, all rumors. So please understand that's all this is. It's mostly just for fun. And these are just things to be fine for $1. Why not take a shot? But this whole thing, again, it's all based on rumors. So please keep that in mind. Now, it is a kind of fun idea, this mountain retreat thing that they're saying could be the case, and this group setting for these villains really reminds me of Wreck-It Ralph with this support group that he had with all the the villains of the video games. So that's what it makes me think of. All right, now, first things first, let's get one out of the way that you should still keep an eye out for when you're digging in those boxes, because they did make a lot of these. They printed a lot. They are still tucked away out there because there's plenty of issues from Secret Wars out there. So keep an eye out for your issue 7s, your issue 3s, because I know you're not going to find 8s out there. But I realized this book popped for a little while. It got hot. Everybody knows it. So, and I've talked about this book before, but this is just kind of a reminder pick to keep an eye out for Secret Wars number 3. It's just a good thing just to be aware of and keep an eye out for. Again, this is an old pick. Talked about this before. A lot of people are aware of this book. It's not like I'm breaking new ground talking about it. I'm just reminding you. Keep an eye out for it, because this is the first Titania, if I'm saying her name right. And we know she's going to be a villain in the She-Hulk series. She's cast as Jamila. I can't remember her name or how to pronounce it. So she was on The Good Place. She got that show on it's TBS or TNT, where it's like the worst day ever or whatever. Been in a few things. Anyway, she's going to be playing Titania, and we know that to be the case. So make sure you keep an eye out for this book, because this is her first appearance. Again, even though this book got popped, this was like a $50 book. It seemed like not that long ago. Like, this thing was literally selling raw for like $50, but now it's down. Look, $15.50 on January 6th with 6 bids. $35. Buy it now on January 6th. So even there, you can see there's a little bit of a gap, a little bit of a range of the pricing as far as these things selling for. And, again, both of those sales were today. And if you want to look at what's available, there's still, expensive copies out there. But like I said, this was $50 not that long ago. It really was. But there's copies out there even now, mid-grade, $15, and then another copy like $25. There's a lot in that $25, $30 range listed right now. But as the auction showed you, you can still sometimes sneak these things for cheaper, or you can just buy them like a mid-grade outright for $15 if you don't feel like digging. But Again, these things could still be in those cheap boxes as new stock of older books come into some of the shops, some of the places at like flea markets, the overstock places, the people who deal in bulk. They don't dig out everything. So this is just always be aware of this stuff. Just always know what you're looking for, because you never know when you're going to come across it in when you're digging in a cheap box. So that's just the first one. That's a bit of a reminder. Now let's get into some of those characters that the Abomination might have at his little mountain retreat in that little rumor. And the first one being Man-Bull. Yeah, I know it's a silly character, but it's the kind of thing, if they just show it on screen, you don't even have any you don't need any details. You see a dude with horns, self-explanatory. You know what I mean? It's kind of like looking at a background scene in Star Wars Cantina. Like, all right, they're aliens. It doesn't matter. You don't need a full backstory for all of them right away. You get it just by looking at them. So Man-Bull could be a good filler in one of those seats at this retreat for Abomination, of a villain trying to deal, I guess, with his affliction, or I don't know, power set. But Man-Bull first showed up all the way back in Daredevil 78. Yeah, that was a long time ago. And I know you can be like, well, you're not finding this kind of stuff in a dollar bin. It's not always true, because sometimes you might find some beat copy or a little bit of a beat up copy tucked away in a box because it's not really a key, and it might be in a box. Maybe it's not $1. Maybe it's in a $2 box. Maybe it's just in a regular cheap back issue bin. We're just kind of expanding it to that kind of idea, because this still isn't that expensive of a book. Like, we're not talking about this is some $100 thing that's tucked away in a box. This is still relatively cheap if you go and find it out in the wild, because $8.50 with 7 bids, one sold yesterday. It's only $8.50. Like, it's not an expensive book. And if you want to go looking at what's available, like, there's still copies that are under $10. So again, you could find this thing for cheap, and it's just kind of a fun little thing to keep an eye out for. And some shops don't care how old a book may be, because why take the time to go bag board and, price it out just to make a couple extra dollars when they can just throw it in a bin and just let people have at it, because that's going to drive people to come back and dig in those bins if they can find some interesting stuff, like this in there. Again, not saying you're going to find it, but just be aware of it, just so you know it when you're digging, that this is the first appearance of Man-Bull. Now, if you don't think you're going to be able to find this, well, maybe you can find a nice little Man-Bull appearance in a She-Hulk comic, which is this She-Hulk number 10 that has a Titania cover. Pretty cool. This thing has gotten a lot of interest with the casting of Titania recently, but like I said, inside there's a quick little appearance of Man-Bull. He's not even fighting She-Hulk in this little flashback kind of scene. He's fighting Jessica Carpenter, but still, he's in this book. So it's one to keep an eye out for. And you should keep an eye out for a lot of these She-Hulk books, particularly this Dan Slott run that ran for only 12 issues, because this one's getting pricier. So if you find any of them, I would just say scoop them up just in case. But this issue 10, if you look, can sell anywhere from $15, buy it now on December 9th, or just a couple of days ago, 3 issues. It was 9, 10, and 11 in a lot. Buy it now for $10 for all 3. So they can even be listed for cheap in lots and things like that. So keep an eye out for some of these books in that way too, if you're just doing online shopping. I know that's not exactly the point of dollar bin digging, but hey, sometimes you got to find some stuff cheap online, because we can't go out to all our shops, or we might not have that many shops in our areas. Like, we don't have a place where we can dig for a lot of books. I know that's the case for some of you out there, depending on your location. So I try to keep that in mind too, where you can still kind of look. If you know how to look and dig even online, there are options for you for some of these things. And if we want to look at what's available right now, again, that's also to kind of give you a range of what's out there. Look, you can buy one of these straight up for $5. I mean, that's not terrible. I mean, it's not quite dollar bin digging, but $5 ain't bad. And it could be sell as much, or they'll ask as much as $30, as you can see right there. Again, this Dan Slott run's kind of heating up a little bit because of the show coming up, and it might follow some of the tone and stories that we might have seen in this 12-issue run. All right, so there's Man-Bull. Who else might we see in this little support group, at least according to this rumor? Baron Blood. Now, there have been a few Baron Bloods. They didn't specify which one. So we do have options of Baron Bloods that may show up if we're talking Baron Blood. Now, first one being all the way back in the 70s. I think it was 1976. The Invaders, number 7, is the first appearance of the, I can't remember his first name, but the Fallsworth version of Baron Blood. So I think this was the first one. This one sold, or can sell, anywhere as cheap as, look, yesterday, 99 cents. It sold for $1, even online at auction yesterday. Or buy it now for $45, and that accepted buy it now price is $40. So yeah, also sold yesterday. So anywhere from $1 to $40 just based off of yesterday's prices. Just saying. Again, these are the type of weird books maybe you find at a flea market. Just there's a stack of old comics, and they're like, oh, I don't know, they're $1 each. Go flip through it. You don't know what's going to be in there. Because again, this doesn't scream out to you that this is a major key. This isn't the first appearance of Blade or something like that. You're not finding the first Moon Knight, particularly. You hear those stories of the people who's like, oh, did you get here this morning? Somebody pulled this. Great. There still could be stuff like this out there. So keep looking, keep digging, and just be aware of all these weird little oddities. Because again, $1 to $40. Who knows? It's all in timing. If you can find that person who wants it, the price could be widely different. Now, what's available for this thing? Just kind of give you a range as well of the pricing being asked for this Invaders book. Well, the asking prices right now are 26 to like 64. So it's not quite as cheap as that 99-cent auction. Keep an eye out for those because, again, I mention it all the time. We're talking about books that not a lot of people are looking for. These are not hot books. Invaders #7 is not on your hot 10 list. People are not thinking about it or looking for it. So if you find one that happens to be at auction, you might be able to win it for that minimum starting price because no one else is looking for it. And if it ends on an off day, you could sneak it and get it for $1 like somebody did just yesterday. Now, that was one Baron Blood. We do have another option for Baron Blood, which first showed up in Captain America 253. This is the, I think I can't remember his first name, but the Crichton. I don't know how to pronounce the name properly, but this is another version of Baron Blood in this Cap 253. This book can also sell for as cheap as 99 cents at auction back December 29th, $5 buy it now, or up to $25 with $28 shipping. So somebody paid nearly over $50 potentially for one of these, and as low as $1. Again, wide range. Who knows? So it's one of those things you just be aware of. Keep an eye out for it. So when you're flipping through old stacks of Captain Americas, know which ones to look for. Yes, all the U.S. agents might be picked out of there, but you might be able to find something like this first Baron Blood. Just saying. Now, what else are we looking at here as far as available copies go? Well, for available copies, this thing could be listed for as cheap as $5. Yeah, there's a big crease right across the cover on that one, so that is a lower grade for $5, and up to $33. But again, there's all kinds of books in between. These are just examples that I'm providing. So there's copies out there if you want to go looking online. But again, just be aware of it when you're digging in a box. Who knows what you might find? You might find an old Cap book worth grabbing. Which leaves us with one more, Baron Blood, which happens to be the brother, or I should say half-brother, of Doctor Strange. This is the Victor Strange version of Baron Blood. And this book has actually gotten a little pricier these days just because of the Morbius cover. It's a pretty solid Morbius cover, but I'm surprised that people are even looking for this. But apparently they are, because if you look, the last couple of copies that sold on this sold for about $20. January 5th and December 30th. $20, $19. So, yeah, didn't know that this was selling for that much, so keep an eye out for this. I never looked for this one because I didn't know to look for this one until I started doing some research on this, the last couple of days. So, it's another book to add to my Rolodex of things to keep an eye out for when I'm digging, because I do see old Doctor Strange books, and to look for the first Sidorak, and look for, at least some of these books, but the Amy Grant cover. Hey, now I know I should be looking for 10 as well because, hey, it's at least $20. You find it for $1, you can get 20 out of it. That's not too bad of a return if you want to go and dig to flip. Available copies, well, cheap as $5, up to $30. And again, sometimes you can see these things in lots, so keep an eye out for that way as well. Maybe you can get a nice little run of a title that you want to read and check out. Just more ideas on how you can shop even online for these things. All right. We got another character that was listed in that little bit of a rumor that we'll look at next, and that is Porcupine. Again, silly character. Immediately, you recognize, not recognizable, but you immediately look at him. It just tells the story just by looking at this guy. He's a porcupine. Now, his first appearance goes pretty far back, so you're probably not going to find that. And that's Tales to Astonish number 48. And yeah, you can see the dreaded Porcupine there. It looks more like a wicker man of some kind. Yeah, you're probably not finding this for $1. It's just not going to happen. So just figured I'd mention it because that's his first appearance. But another book related to Porcupine that you kind of want to just be aware of is this next book, and that is The Sensational She-Hulk, number 59. This is the penultimate issue, the second to last issue. The series wrapped up at issue 60, but these late run She-Hulks have gotten pricey of late. I know a lot of times the last issues, the final issues of series, I've talked about it before, last issues, do pretty well. In a lot of cases, the last few issues on a series that ends up being canceled does pretty well. But just recently, due to the She-Hulk, I guess, fervor, the news, the excitement, has driven these up a little bit more than normal. And inside, you do get a Porcupine appearance. Just so you know, Porcupine is in there. Silly story, give it a read. But this book, this 59, can sell pretty well if you didn't know that already. And you can see one bid at auction, $20, it's $17. All right, so it's not terribly expensive of what it sells for. But when you look at some of the asking prices, on the other hand, there are no more copies in that $16 range that I saw. The asking prices right now are $50 to $100. Just saying. I mean, granted, if you want to go and undercut the market, if you have a copy, go, feel free. I'm just saying. So copies are selling $15 to $20, but the asking prices right now are much, much higher. So just be aware of that. This is the second to last issue of the run. Now, another character mentioned that we might see popping up is actually not a villain, and I guess it's a hero in one of the Great Lakes Avengers, and that is Mr. Immortal. So I also think this is the kind of a funny little thing. I think there was mention of maybe her advising him on like multiple divorces or something like that. Because, Mr. Immortal, you live for a real long time. I mean, you're going to end up in a bunch of different relationships. Anyway, here we go. Mr. Immortal, again, as one of the Great Lakes Avengers. So his first appearance along with the Great Lakes Avengers was in West Coast Avengers 46. Again, this is a known book. This isn't new, not breaking new ground with this one. Just reminding you that this is out there. So back when everybody else was buying all those Wanda books, when WandaVision was out and looking for the White Vision books, this is right in that same range of that run. And yeah, maybe you can stumble across this one as well. So first, Great Lakes Avengers, and first, Mr. Immortal. What's it sell for? Well, it's not terribly expensive right now. Get as cheap as $10 to $21 is what the last couple have sold on January 4th and 5th, respectively. Not too bad. And what are copies asking for right now? Well, copies are as low as like $7. And again, you might be paying up to $14. I mean, there's copies a little bit more, maybe even a little bit less, but that's just kind of the range, a broad generalization on what the asking price is. So it's not a very pricey book right now. And one I think is kind of fun because this is a team that, who knows, maybe we do see in some sort of special or some sort of a Disney Plus series just for laughs. Like we almost got Squirrel Girl and the New Warriors or whatever. This is another team that Squirrel Girl did end up on. So maybe this is a way that we get our Squirrel Girl eventually as part of the Great Lakes Avengers. Who knows? But just something fun to keep an eye out for. Now, I think I got one more for you. I mentioned that at the outset, the Intelligentsia. Yeah, so let's look at them. This is a team of super smart villains that kind of pooled their resources and are, basically Hulk villains that kind of team up all together for the most part. I mean, some may come from the other properties. It might be more Avengers, Fantastic Four type villains. But again, all the smart villains kind of pool together. There are a couple of variations on these teams, but the first appearance of them actually appeared here in this Fall of the Hulks Alpha. This kind of like separate little mini kind of thing that happened. This is all in that World War Hulk following Planet Hulk kind of range. Then we had Fall of the Hulks, and there was an Alpha, there were some minis, there was an Omega issue. But this Alpha issue is our first look at this team of the Intelligentsia. And this book actually has a couple of covers. This is a one-shot. It's an Alpha issue, so it's only the one. But there are a couple of covers on this. I think there was a midnight release or like a New Year's type release that gives you this nice little throwback, a little homage to which of the Fall of the Mutants kind of covers. Kind of fun. So Fall of the Hulks, Fall of the Mutants. It's a nice little tie-in there. Kind of like this. And then there is a tougher to find, pretty cool MODOK cover done by David Finch here with this variant. Some of them list this as like an incentive, but I don't believe this is an incentive. I think this is just like a B cover, but it is still tougher to find. But sometimes sellers, they list things certain ways. I don't know what exactly is true. I haven't been able to confirm or deny if this is an incentive, but I don't think it is. I think it's just, from mostly what I see, this is just like a variant. But in any case, what do these things sell for? Well, if you want the first Intelligentsia, it's actually not all that bad. You can see here, the cover A there could sell for like $2. Even that tougher to find Finch cover could be like $8, and then like $5 again on the other variant, the Fall of the Mutants homage. Again, these are just example prices. There's sales all over the place. Some cheaper than what I'm showing you, some a little higher. This was just a good little snapshot that I could give you one of each, just to kind of give you a range of sorts. But on the same token of what's available, well, the asking prices, however, are a little bit different in that, there's the lowest low is on the one homage, and then you can see like $9 on the cover A, and then that Finch one is listed for $25, and that was the only one I could quickly find when I was looking for that one, because again, I think it's a little tougher, that Finch cover, and it's probably due to the MODOK. I mean, there's not a ton of MODOK covers, and with the MODOK show getting his character some heat a few months ago, I think a lot of this stuff kind of cleared, and like it raised the bar of the prices, and some of these prices might still be lingering at that leftover high, whereas even though not a lot of rushing to buy MODOK, even with more news that we might be getting him in like Ant-Man or whatever, that we might be seeing him in something else coming up live action. I don't know, just still some of the MODOK books are out there, and some of them still have a little bit of a premium attached to them. But I don't know, again, still just fun stuff for you to go out there, hunt, stuff for you to go out and dig for. These are just oddball characters that maybe you run across. There's some first appearances. I mean, realistically, a lot of this list could have just been considered a Forgotten First episode for my Forgotten Fridays, but I don't know, you can still find these in those cheap boxes and those cheap bins. So that's why I felt like we can still do it here today for dollar bin digging and not have to separate it out for Forgotten First. But it is basically kind of the same thing. Again, all based on rumors, just for fun. Hopefully you enjoyed that and you're enjoying the rest of the stuff here on the channel. Thanks for stopping by and checking out the content. Hopefully you like it. Let me know what you think in the comments. The whole like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure you tell your friends so we can keep growing the channel. Make sure you come back for the live shows. The chats are always fun and lively. And yeah, give me some suggestions of stuff you want to see. What would you like to see in the new year? And yeah, I appreciate you all checking in, and I will see you guys soon with some more content.